right, get prepared because this next comedian is super funny, super awesome. Her name rhymes with Quake. Okay, it's Blake Chernin!
Hello, everybody. How are you guys doing tonight? Woo, sir, is not an emotion. I asked you how you were doing, but it's okay. You were slow also, okay. I'm doing pretty good. I'm kind of on Emma's side. I'm really glad that February is almost over. Like, I don't mind Valentine's Day. It's just that it sort of brings into like clear, sharp focus how violently single I am. And every other day of the year, I can just like push it down, except for Arbor Day. Fuck Arbor Day. But yeah, this year on Valentine's Day, I was like looking at all these like couples like together, like these motherfuckers who are holding hands at a comedy show like anybody cares. And you think you've got love because you haven't found any love. So like, I was like, oh fuck, Blake, you're 19 years old and you're not in a relationship yet. You're fucked, it's over, like it's over. You better give up now. So I was like, okay, so I need to find a boyfriend right away. What do I do? Because I could feel the individual eggs like drying up and dying inside me. So I turned to that like always like perfect, smart, like well of romantic advice, Google. So I go to Google, I type in the search bar, how not to die alone. And the first result that came up was a WikiHow article called How to Get a Boyfriend. So I was like, all right, WikiHow, get me pregnant. And I clicked on the article, like, it had good advice. Like, I think it was good. Like, let me ask you guys. So, like, the first piece of advice seemed like it was just make eye contact with your crush. That, to me, makes sense. Like, that's good advice, right? I feel like good advice. But the problem, like the catch, was the way they said to go about like establishing eye contact was to stare at that person. Just stare at them. Keep staring. Eventually they'll look your way and that's eye contact and now you're married. So I was like, all right. And then the other piece of advice, they were like, well, be present. Be available to him to like have a conversation because like, that makes sense. How can he impregnate you 20 times if you're not in the same room with him? Like, obviously. But again, the way they said to go about it was like, you know, find out his hobbies and his interests and where he likes to walk his dog and like follow him there. But they advise, make sure to make a schedule and space out when you do because if you don't, it's stalking. So if you make a schedule for when you're gonna follow somebody, and follow it scientifically, it's not stalking. So I've tried all of that. It hasn't worked yet, but you in the ZBT polo over there, you're staring at me kind of sound. Talk after. Speaking of bad decisions, this is Muhlenberg. Major. I'm just kidding. I'm an English major, which is like all of the broken dreams of a theater major and none of the charisma, so. My sister was also a theater major. She graduated last year. She didn't go to Muhlenberg though, she went to Skidmore. If you guys aren't familiar with Skidmore, it's exactly like Muhlenberg, except for instead of like sports and Greek life, they all have the same pretentious gray cardigan and eating disorders. So. Alex, is it true? Okay. So yeah, she graduated. She's a theater major from Skidmore. And so because she just graduated, she's like, I have to audition places and get my resume out there and like start making theater with other theater makers because like, that's what it's about, right? Making theater. So she, over Christmas break, she had an audition and she was like, Blake, this is really hard for me to say because I know I'm like emotionally naked on that stage. But it's like hard for me to open, like, will you please come to my audition with me? Like, I need your energy to flow for my energy to flow. I was like, all right. So we go to this audition space, and she's auditioning and like doing her like movement composition in this one studio. And next door there was a studio that was holding callbacks for a 1950s period piece that took place in Alabama. And I know this because of the very sad actors I was surrounded by. So it was like, they all showed up in costume. So it was like all of these like girls with like flaccid victory curls and ugly shoes. And like all these like gay men in ill-fitting suits and hair gel. Oh, sorry, no Jews or gays, I'm sorry. And like they were all practicing the same monologue. It was a, Mama, I know that you ain't never been 10 miles out of this little town, but Mama, I can make something of myself. And I know the way to do it is to get out of Alabama, Mama. I know it. I know I can get out of Alabama. I'm gonna be somebody. Mama, if I just get out of Alabama. I was like, oh, guys. Just stay in Alabama. And just like this like cesspool of like Kafkaesque misery, and guess what, theater majors? That's you in a couple of years. Yeah, they were all just talking to each other with like the way that actors talk to each other. Like, oh my God, it is so lovely to see you. It's been so long, and like underneath you can tell that they absolutely hate everybody else in the room. And like that's you guys. That's all of you. God is dead, and you're all gonna end up doing porn. You know what else requires some acting? Do you guys know what catfishing is? Like you look like you've been catfished 1 or 2 times. Like, yeah, it's okay. One of them will be real eventually again. I don't actually catfish people. I communist fish people. Communist fishing is when you reel a guy in and then make him think you're a hardline communist. So I was at this frat party a little while back. It was an ATO party, like ATO, yeah, fucking like toga. Enjoying it before they lose their charter again. This guy comes up to me. I was like, "Hey, sexy." I was like, "Hi." And he was like, "Hey, I'm not from around here. I don't go to I go to Albright. I'm visiting a friend. I go to Albright College." I was like, "Oh, Albright, you go to? Do you know this guy, Karl Marx?" And he was like, "What? No, I go to Albright. I don't go here. I go, I'm not from around." I was like, "No, like Karl Marx, like big beard, like really. Karl Marx. Do you know him?" He's like, "No, I go to Albright. I don't go to Albright. I don't go here." I was like, "He wrote this manifesto, Albright." And then finally he walked away, and like I was like, "Thank God." But then a little while later, I noticed that he was staring at me, so we had sex anyway. Thanks, guys. That's my time tonight. See you later.